Hello, anybody, I am alpacapatrol, and this is Binding of Isaac Wrath of the Lamb. That's right, I'm back with another, well, Binding of Isaac Wrath of the Lamb run. It's gonna be a regular old run today, and the reason is multi-pronged, and by multi-pronged I mean not really multi-pronged, just pretty much singly pronged. The run is by 1234 Tyon, so I always feel like if it's a run that's upvoted and I can't do it for whatever reason, that I kinda have to, you know, I have to mention the name, so at least you get that, because unfortunately, the run was a cool idea. It was admittedly a cool idea, but it would involve me fumbling around with the cheat engine a lot, and it wouldn't be very interesting. Like, I wouldn't be able to carry up like a cogent conversation with myself, and it just, you know, it wouldn't be particularly interesting to watch. So, I mean, unless I edited it a buttload, and honestly, I don't do that too much for Isaac, just because you know, I like to do him the day of and all that. So, you know, that is the case. Now, Cain actually does start with a speed up, so this is great to start with Lard, because, you know, Cain's biggest detriment is his health. And his health isn't really even that bad either. I really love playing Cain. Cain is one of my favorite characters. And by one of, I mean probably my favorite character? Probably, maybe. I mean, if Cain started with the D6, I would just, like, blow loads all over Cain. Yeah, that's right, you heard me. I said it. If you guys follow me on Twitter, by the way, yesterday you would have saw the amazing series of dick drawings that me and Josh had made. See, because after the... Oh, butts. When we do... Oh, for the love of God! After we do, iSketch in the, Northern Lion Live Super Show, I'm gonna use a bomb here. Oh, I should have actually looked for the secret room. Whatever, that's fine, not a big deal. Ooh, we got a blue heart out of that. That's pretty lucky. But yeah, so, after the Northern Lion Live Super Show, if we do iSketch, a lot of times, some of us will just stick around in the chat afterwards, or in the iSketch game afterwards, and draw things. So, me and Josh drew a bunch of dicks for like a half an hour, just doing various things. I'll actually post, I think the name of the person who did the compilation was Defutba. Josh, like, saved them all, and, oh, wait, gotta itch my nose. Oh, that feels so good. Alright, we're good, we're back. Don't worry. You guys were worried, and you shouldn't be, because we're back. So, you know, don't worry now. But took damage, which is really unfortunate. I am fighting these bosses just because there's no real reason not to, in all honesty. They're first floor basement bosses. I'm obviously going to explore the rest of the floor because it's Curse of the Labyrinth, but, you know, I figure might as well just fight them right off. Oh, dick balls. But, you know, might as well fight them right off. Like, I'm not really going to gain that much power, probably, from the treasure rooms. So, you know, whatever. What did we get as our first item? I totally forgot now. Something good, I think. Oh, that was a close call. That was a close call. What did we get? We got Lard, right. Yeah, that's why we have all that health. Whoops-a-daisy. Anyway, we got Lord of Flies, or Duke of Flies. I always say Lord of Flies. I don't actually always say Lord of Flies, but I used to always say Lord of Flies. Get out of here, flies. I wish I did more damage. Game. Oh, God, I got another itch on my nose. What is with it? Every time I play Isaac, I just get itches on my nose. I think it's just a psychosomatic thing. Like, I feel like I don't actually get, itches on my nose, like, ever, and I just do it when I play Isaac. Or maybe it's just that I'm paying attention to everything that my body is doing while I'm playing Isaac, since I'm recording. I don't know. I will never know. By the way, you know, something interesting that I was reading about, or not reading about, Cam told me about, because it was in Old Boy. Man, we're actually almost gonna die here. We gotta be very careful. I didn't realize that it was so dire, but things are pretty dire right now. But yeah. So, what was I saying? Something about... Oh, yeah, something that we learned. Except, was there anything that I was talking about before that? It doesn't really matter. Whatever. There's apparently this thing, called, hysterical pregnancy. Well, it's not actually called hysterical pregnancy. It's called, something... Synosthesis, something like that. I don't know. I don't know what the actual name is. But if you look up hysterical pregnancy, you can find it. It's insane. I didn't realize that this existed. Basically, Cam was describing this disease to me, and I just looked up hysterical pregnancy because there's a couple other hysterical things that can happen to you that are fucking crazy. like, for instance, but yeah, anyway, hysterical pregnancy. So what it means when they say hysterical, by the way, hysteria in Greek or Latin means crazy vagina, because the story behind hysteria is actually pretty funny. That said, I'm not going to start that story until perhaps afterwards. But, anyway, so hysterical pregnancy, how it works is a woman becomes convinced that she is pregnant. So much so that she actually basically becomes pregnant. Like, she inhabits all of the symptoms of being pregnant. Namely, her stomach swells, you know, she gets, like, morning sickness, all that kind of stuff. She gets basically all the symptoms of being pregnant, and she believes absolutely that she is, in fact, pregnant. Which is crazy. Apparently, like, when I was reading online, I was reading about it on Wikipedia, so, you know, obviously it's not totally in depth with its knowledge. Still, Wikipedia is pretty good for giving you a basic grasp of the information. Anyway, Anyway, yeah, essentially, it's described as it can be a psychological disorder, like it's it's more described that the symptom of it, like a symptom rather than the cause, is that the woman is convinced that she is in fact pregnant. And that's how it's described in Wikipedia. Now, I never learned about this when I took psychology, so I really don't know. So obviously take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, but I mean, this does exist. So I don't know if it's the cause or a symptom of, but it's still pretty crazy. I mean, the woman is convinced that she's pregnant, and she inhabits or exhibits all of the signs of being pregnant. In fact, so much so that the only way to test if it is a phantom pregnancy or a hysterical pregnancy, excuse me, I just choked on my own saliva. Oh, I hate when I do that. You know, that's like you ever like walk down the street and all of a sudden one of your ankles gives out, and like you're not tripping over anything, but you trip now, and you fall. You kind of like fall, or like you have to pick yourself up and act like you haven't just tripped over nothing. You know, it's the same kind of feeling, I think, when you choke on your own saliva, because it's just like, that's just me being an idiot. There's no other way to describe that. My ankle just gave out, I just choked on my own saliva, I'm just dumb. But anyway, so yeah, hysterical pregnancy, pretty crazy stuff. It was interesting to learn about that. I didn't know that existed. Another thing that's actually really interesting about hystericalness, or hysterical disorders, or diseases, or whatever it is, it's not really a disease. Like, it just happens sort of spontaneously, not completely spontaneously. It varies, it's a variety of factors. Wow, that was really lucky, actually. And that just gave me just enough money to go to the shop, which is what I was hoping for, so, good work, me. Anyway, it's always good to pat yourself on the back every once in a while. And whoopsie-daisy. I guess I'll take the ladder. Whenever I take the ladder, I get flight, like, the next room, so, you know, that's probably gonna happen. Fuck it, whatever. We'll deal with it when it happens. Anyway. So, another thing that you could get that is defined by hysteria is, fuck it. If you get fuck it, then you're just gonna want to fuck everything. No, in all honesty, you get hysterical blindness, which is crazy. So you just can become hysterically blind, which it means that there's nothing wrong with your actual eyes. For instance, there's nothing really wrong with your actual, body. You obviously haven't become pregnant if you get hysterically pregnant, but you convince your body that you are blind, essentially. Well, you don't, it's like, that seems like I'm kind of like putting it off, or like, making it sound less than it is. You do actually go blind, like you cannot see, but it's not a form or function of you being actually blind. It's just your mind stops accepting images. So it's pretty crazy stuff, man. Now, it's always temporary, by the way, hysterical blindness. Same with, I imagine, hysterical pregnancy, but I guess every pregnancy is temporary anyway, so really that's sort of not a valid point. But all that stuff is pretty interesting. Of course, there are real names for it. Like I said, I don't know what it's called for the pregnancy one. Oh, dicks. I'm an idiot. I'm a big dumb idiot. Because well, that was also me being an idiot, but less of an idiot. That was just unfortunate kind of RNGs in the way I dodged. I shouldn't have gone the way I did. Ooh, lucky toe. That's interesting. I don't know. I think that increases our luck, but it doesn't really do much anyway. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But yeah. So, hysterical blindness, pretty crazy. I find that real interesting. I never find any of those things. Just shows, you know, the will of mind over body kind of thing, which is interesting. Also, sort of within that realm of you know, laughter heals and all that kind of thing. You know, it's not actually disproven. In fact, it's sort of proven the opposite, that those kind of things, mind over body, all kind of work. Now, I'm not saying, like, if you have cancer, don't go to a doctor and just watch a bunch of comedy shows, but maybe you should watch a bunch of comedy shows. I mean, it couldn't hurt anyway to laugh a lot. Also, it is important to note that people in depressed states are more, their immune system is more prone to illness. So, you know, their immune system is weaker. So, you know, if you're prone to depression, you'll get sick more often. I got wiggle worm. I don't know. Maybe I'll get technology. I don't mind getting wiggle room sometimes. I don't really want to get that. So yeah, so, you know, it sort of kind of makes logical sense. Oh god, that if you are happy all the time, then you shouldn't get as sick as often. But of course, you know, it's really not that simple. Nothing is ever that simple. So, you know, let's go in here. Ah, we got some money. That's nice. What a nice young boy. Yeah, so, you know, interesting stuff. Oh, hysteria. Okay, so, this is actually funny. They made a movie about this with, I think Maggie Gyllenhaal. Oh, that's exactly why I came in here. Oh my god, the erections, they are flying out of my chest, which is very impressive. Okay. So, yeah, hysteria. So it means crazy vagina. Basically, it was a disease or a mental disorder. Oh, it was what was perceived as a mental disorder anyway. Or for a long time, but it was in the most important aspect of it was, or the most important era for it was, I think, in the 1930s, and I believe the late 1800s as well. Because hysteria was a thing. Oh god, it was if women were tit balls. If women were tit balls, no, but if women were like promiscuous or if they were you know, not something befitting a lady, they would be considered to have hysteria, right? You go to a doctor with hysteria as your problem with crazy vagina, and what happens is the doctor treats you with dildos. I'm not kidding. That's actually what's really funny about it, and the reason that I even say that you get treated with dildos is because of the hysteria, which is of course where the whole, you know, idea of calling something a hysteria is. But with that whole hysteria, let's say fiasco, to make it make more sense, it spawned the. Well, I mean, it basically just spawned vibrators, which I was gonna try to think of a different way. I was like, spawned the inception of vibrators, but, you know, when you say spawned, you already kind of got the idea. Alright, I guess, I just wanted to go see what was in there. Nothing good, it looks like. I could keep exploring, and I guess I might as well. Yeah, might as well, why not? Maybe that's probably why not. That's probably it. That's, if I had to guess why not, that was it. But yeah, so if you had a crazy vagina, you got vibed. Seriously, that's actually what happened. You can look it up too. If you look up vibrator, you will find that is indeed the reasoning for it. Another thing that's actually really crazy that I was actually clued into because of the chat or the comment section one time was there was a thing called the dancing epidemic. And it was in England, I think, and it was in the middle 1800s, I think. But if you look up the dancing epidemic, you'll find it on Wikipedia. That is a boss horde room, intriguing. But yeah, if you look up the dancing epidemic, you will find it. It, essentially, what happened is, it was like, a flash mob. It was like, someone did a flash mob, essentially, A flash mob, by the way, is just like when a bunch of people just show up in a place and start dancing. So people just started dancing in the street, and then I would imagine through the course of sociology, people just started dancing with them. But what happened, this is the funniest part, is the authorities of the time, of course it was all young people who were dancing, the authorities of the time didn't know what to do. They did not understand what these people were doing. They were just dancing in the street. Like that one song with, I don't know who's that song's with. I was gonna say, Kevin Bacon, but I don't know if Dancing in the Street is from Footloose. I feel like it's from Dancing in the Street. I'm not really sure. Anyway, doesn't particularly matter. What does matter, however, is that the dancing epidemic did in fact occur. People started dancing. Authorities didn't understand what was happening. It happened over the course of, oh, come on. It happened over the course of, like, I think, like, 5 days, or 5 or 6 days, like a week. Maybe it was like a month. But essentially what happened is they got, like, experts in who were just, like, trying to understand what this disease was, where people just started dancing when they showed up here. Because it appeared contagious. And, they literally, it just sounds like the plot to some, like, bad 80s film, by the way. Or just even an 80s music video, like a Michael Jackson video or something. But yeah, so they started dancing. The authorities brought in experts, and what the experts said, the psychologists at the time said, was that you have to sort of, you have to kind of feed into it in order to satiate their desire to dance. So what authorities started doing, and city officials started doing, is they started fucking building stages. They started just building stages so that people could dance on the stages. So, like wooden dance floors just started appearing, and, like, the whole city of wherever it took place, I forget where, it just turned out into a big giant dance party. It got so intense that people died from exhaustion, which is why it sort of became, why they considered it an epidemic, or why it was so, talked about, or I don't know how to say this properly, but, why the authorities got involved anyway, is that people kept dying. They kept dying of exhaustion from fucking dancing. And it's insane. It's insane. I just always found that kind of funny. So we got over a couple things in this run. I don't know why we've gone into the certain topics that we have, but I think the topics were important, and were good to learn. Like hysteria, where the invention of vibrators, which is great. I'm sure all the women in the world are very excited about that whole hysteria thing happening. Although, that said, I'm sure at the time it probably wasn't that great. I mean, the invention of vibrators, sure, that's cool, but the having yourself go into a doctor so some creepy old guy could, like, stick a dildo in there, probably not a good time, I would guess. This would be my guess. It's kind of like, here's one thing I've thought about. I don't like thinking about it, but I've thought about it. I'll be honest. I don't want to be an old man, because when you're an old man, apparently you have to get enemas. And enemas, in case you didn't know, is when they suck poop out of your butt. And I don't want to ever have to do that. They take, like, some suction tube and put it in your beehole, and then they take poop out of your butt. And I don't want to do that. I want to never ever do that. Even if I get like a hot lady doctor, it don't matter. Like, even if it's George Clooney, I don't want anything. I don't want a tube sucking poop out of my butt. Like, I just don't want. At the very least, I don't want someone to administer it. That's probably my greatest thing, is that I don't want anyone to look at my beehole and being like, alright, look, I'm gonna stick this thing in your beehole. I don't want to deal with that. Fuck it. Let's take it. I could've, saved a bomb, perhaps, by doing that, and perhaps saved the White Heart if, like, this room goes poorly or something, but, you know what? Sometimes you gotta live life on the wild side, like Lou Reed said. You gotta just take a walk on the wild side. Oh, man. Fuck it. It's probably greed. It is greed, but it's unfortunate. I really hope I don't lose my my White Heart. That would be really unfortunate. But I do hope that I gain some money, so, that's good. Hopefully, theoretically, in the future. Alright, good. We did not lose our white heart, and we gained the steam sail, which is great. And we gained a health up, too. I mean, don't forget that. Don't think too low on that. Unfortunately, there's no, like, sacrifice room or a blood bank anywhere. Otherwise, I would have went into that boss horde room. I was kind of looking for that, but it just never ended up showing up. Whatever. You know, shit happens. Let's just go down to the next floor. I'm cool with an extra health up anyway. We probably could have looked for the secret room, like, right next to the boss horde room, and that would have been interesting. Not to say that it was necessarily there, but if it was there, then life would be good. We did get the Necropolis, which is kind of a bummer. Just because the Necropolis kind of sucks. I still feel like the Necropolis is, like, the most difficult floor in the game. Like, well, Sheol's pretty bad, too, but the Necropolis I always have a hard time on. Unfortunately, whoa, that was a close call. Unfortunately, we're probably going to end up getting a Horseman of the Apocalypse. Which means I'm probably... Oh, come on, man. Which means I'm probably not going to get an item from the boss. Which sucks, but then, you know, what can you do, I suppose, right? And what would you do, ooh, for a Klondike bar? What else was I saying? I was saying something about something. Dildos. Oh, yeah. Yeah, enemas. No, I never, ever, ever want to deal with an enema. That sounds real bad. Also, we didn't get any pills on this run. That's really kind of unfortunate. Because if we had, we would have gotten a bunch of good things, but because we're Cain. But sometimes that happens. Sometimes you play Cain, just never get any pills. Oh, come on. Oh, you're juggling my butt. All right, good. And we get a heart out of it too, which is nice. Which means we got our heart back, despite losing it. Despite the game breaking it. But yeah, so, I don't know. Hysteria, Dance Epidemic. That was, Dance Epidemic just seems so crazy to me, because I feel like that's just an idea or a sort of an exercise in sociology, more than anything else, like a case study for sociology is the Dance Epidemic. Because, in all likelihood, it wasn't some sort of parasitic virus or anything that made people want to dance a lot, right? I mean... I think we could probably, you know, say with good certainty that it wasn't like a legitimate disease that caused these people to want to, you know, dance till their death. But more probably, you know, sort of like something like Burning Man, where people just dance and get naked and do drugs and stuff. They're probably all drunk. A bunch of drunkards just dancing. Oh yeah, that was the other thing, is they got a stage, they built stages, and then they also got musicians to come and perform so that they could keep dancing. Because they thought that that's what would help the people. They thought that they would, oh, butts, we have Conquest. Might just straight up die on Conquest. I hate saying that, but, it's inevitable. It's a possibility. Conquest is not an easy enemy to fight. Especially just since he's so goddamn random. Like, he's very difficult, like, it's pretty much impossible to, or it's, like, really, really difficult to dodge the homing shots, and the beams of light are literally just RNG, like, you just have no control over them. This, to a lesser degree, too, is sort of RNG, but you have the ability to dodge. And I'm just hoping that I don't get hit by his beam of light. Okay. Thank God I moved, huh? Had I not, I would have taken damage there. Oh, butts. Oh, double butts. Oh, triple butts. Yeah, I don't, Oh, that was real lucky. I guess I'm trying to goad him into doing this, but that's also not very good. So, I don't know. Conquest needs to be reworked in Rebirth, that's all I'm saying. He's a little bit broken, I think. Oh, come on. I honestly may straight up die here. I don't want it to be true, but it may very well be the case. Oh, that was a close call. Oh, wow. Ball of meat. Just say, come on, Conquest. Especially this shit. Where it's like, well, I just gotta wait for him to do something, and hopefully he doesn't kill me. What? He only fired one horse. Alright, that was nonsense. Okay, I'm gonna keep the ball of meat, because I think ball of meat is probably better than whatever it is that we're gonna get, which is nice. I mean, better than Meat Boy, I think, anyway, is what I really meant to say. And it's not nice, because I don't like wasting a boss item. But, hey, you know, shit happens. Off we go. What was it? This is talking about, oh yeah, the musicians playing. You know, yeah, right. Sociology. Now, sociology is a funny thing, because it's sort of psychology. Oh my god. It's sort of psychology, but it's psychology in a group, you know? It's not really psychology... Like, it doesn't really fit. The only place that it actually kind of fits is Russian psychology, which I forget what the actual name of it is. Oh, dicks, we're dead. Oh, dicks were dead. But yeah, the Russian psychology. Basically, it's interesting how psychology kind of evolved in different places. Like, for instance, in communist Russia, which is when, you know, I'm really mostly talking about it, mostly during the child development, kind of, in the child development field, they created constructivism. And the reason that they created constructivism is because what was communism about, right? It's about commune, right? Which is sort of the root of community, right? So it's sort of, constructivism in learning is actually it actually is the best way to learn, which is really good that they discovered this through fault of politics. But essentially, the Kremlin said, hey, why don't you, they're doing some cool stuff with psychology over in America, why don't you have some competing psychology principles, psychological principles that involve everyone getting together and doing stuff together. So they discovered constructivism, not really discovered, but, you know, sort of kind of pieced it all together, where essentially how it works is instead of like a lecture format where a teacher just stands in the front of the classroom and says, this is this, this is this, this is this, you get into groups, smaller groups, and you try to discover the answers for yourself. That's the most important thing. The reasoning for that is because of how memory works. So the best way to learn something, by the way, if you really need to cram for a test, this is how you do it. The best way to learn is to learn why, not what. So you can learn 2 plus 2 equals 4. And you can memorize that, right? You can remember through repetition, through repetitive memory, you can learn 2 plus 2 equals 4 every time. But you won't know why, right? So if I say 2 plus 2 plus 2, you don't really know, because the only thing you remember... Actually, this is sort of a bad analogy. But even so, the best way to remember it is why 2 plus 2 equals 4. If there's 2 2's, then it is 4 things, right? Something like that. Whatever. What have you. I forget exactly why that's... or what that is called. What type of memory that's called. But that's the best way to learn things. So really, you should learn through descriptions, definitions, stuff like that. Try to really understand why this is the thing that you're learning about. Why, in history, why this person did this, or whatever, what have you. It's the best way to actually really memorize things. That's the best way of learning. And the reason that constructivism works is because of that. Because you're working out the answers for yourself, you understand why not, and why so, because you've probably figured out why not. By messing it up, or getting it right. So really, that's why constructivism is the best. Another fun fact about memory, by the way, is if you want another way to, this is called relational memory. And, this is something that some people do, some people don't. You can see it sometimes in your classes when people are doing it, because they know it about relational memory. Or even doing it, unconsciously. Well, maybe not necessarily unconsciously, but are doing it and don't understand it. So if you keep an object near you while you're studying, say a teddy bear or blanket or whatever, what have you, and it's in a specific place, and you put it there, and you make sure that you know it's there, and you look at it every once in a while, touch it, whatever, what have you, and you're studying, if you bring that object with you into the class, also another good thing, by the way, if you want to do well in classes, always sit in the same seat. A lot of times in lecture halls in colleges, you can just sit wherever you want, whenever you want. There's not assigned seats. Always sit in the same seat. If you sit in the same seat, relational memory helps with that. Because essentially, your brain relates to things. So if you bring that teddy bear with you and you put it in the same spot it was when you're studying, relational memory will associate memories about what you were studying and say that teddy bear, and you'll remember it for the test. You'll remember it for a lot of things. It's sort of like how or certain objects gain sentimental value to a person. It's really just relational memory is all it is, and you sort of remember it, remember those good moments with it, or even the bad moments necessarily, like, you know, it's a possibility with, you know, say you have a car or something, I don't know. Anyway, long outro, sorry about that. I just, you know, I was in the middle of something, I feel like I had to finish it. But, yeah, sorry about that 1, 2, 3, 4 tie-on, for not being able to do your challenge run. But, you know, it would have been real difficult for me to do, because, well, a variety of reasons, but, you know, mostly just because it would have been kind of boring for me to continue doing the cheat engine thing. If cheat engine was better and I would just be like, click a button and it's there for me, great. But, it involved the deck of cards, and I'd have to swap out, like, what the deck of cards always gives, and then do that, and then go there, and then after that, you know, fucking do it would just be, it wouldn't be particularly interesting to watch. And even if I did cut it up, it would be kind of like any kind of running narrative would have been lost of whatever it is I was trying to talk about. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully, you know, maybe you learned something about the history of dildos. I should just name, you know what? I think I'm gonna name this episode The History of Dildoes. Sounds good. It's kind of like History of Violence. You ever see that movie? It's by David Cronenberg. David Cronenberg, very good director. Seriously. I actually watched a movie by his son. His son started doing movies. It was pretty good. Well, did I see it? Or did I watch the trailer and it looked good? I don't really remember. But David Cronenberg, real good. Watch History of Violence. Really good film. Anyway, doesn't really matter. I don't know, man. I'm just rambling. Sometimes I do that on Isaac. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. This is alpacapatrol signing. Oh, post your custom challenge runs down below, and I'll do the most upvoted one. Unfortunately, if it's, like, impossible to do, then I can't do it, unfortunately. Unfortunately. This is alpacapatrol signing out. Peace, fools!